Hello. It is Erica with Holy Rustic, and I am here for another St. Patty's Day kit. So this is my goose. He is still wearing his 4th of July outfit, and we're almost back around to another 4th of July, so I decided it's time to get this goose another outfit. So this is our cute little goose interchangeable that you can purchase on our website. There are lots of different little outfits for it. There are some Christmas, some cute little winter designs, but we're going to do a St. Patty's Day one today and get this so that I can put this back out before we're back around to 4th of July. So I'm going to switch my videos around here so you can see what is on our table. We have our cute little Lucky Goose sign. So when you order this, you can order either the entire kit with the goose or just an insert if you already own a goose and you don't need another full goose. I've got my little inspiration photo over here that we're going to use. And we are going to get started. So we have his little hat. We have our little pot of gold and some gold with a cute little rainbow, little lucky clovers. We've got our little horseshoe that he's going to hold, and then the sign that says a lucky goose. And then you have these two rectangle pieces are super important because they go on the back of this to help hold that in. So we'll discuss that when we get there. We're going to start with the Lucky Goose sign. I'm going to paint this with a brown. Let's see. Here we go. We're just going to use a nice brown color to go on this background. Grab my paint towel. I just use, instead of using a bunch of paper towels at home, I use old towels. And I just keep using them until they're so stiff that you can't possibly add any more paint to them, but they're great for wiping my paintbrush off on. So I'm just going to come across this with a little bit of white and some of my brown just to paint up this sign section. Let me know in the comments if you have one of our goose pieces, interchangeables, and what your goose is currently wearing. Or have you been neglectful like me and your goose is still wearing the St. Patty's or the 4th of July outfit? Or have you been a good goose person and you have the correct season on your goose? Okay, we're going to paint up the Lucky Goose. So the word goose is actually a third layer here. So this will be 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So we're going to do the Lucky in a nice bright green color. Anytime you order any of our kits, you're going to get a makeup sponge in that kit. This sponge is great for painting words. You want to use the rectangle end of the sponge, and you want to offload each time that you dip into the paint. That just keeps you from pushing a bunch of paint over onto the pieces. So I'm not worried about the bottom part that says goose. We're mainly painting this section that says Lucky up here. I'm going to go ahead and see what else needs to be this color. And while I've got this on my sponge, I'm going to go ahead and paint those pieces as well. So that's going to be our hat piece. These are so fun. I love the geese. I have one of those big porch goose as well. He does not live on our porch. Her name is Goosinda. She sits on our mantle. She does have on St. Patrick's Day clothes. So I love the geese. Some people are like, I cannot believe geese are back, but I love them. I think they're so fun and so cute, and it just brings me joy. So painting up these little shamrocks here. And then we're going to do this shamrock as well. And that should be, I believe, all of our green pieces. So we'll just go back to where we started with the word Lucky and give everything a quick second coat. It's much better to do thin coats than to try to put all the paint on there at one time. You're going to find, if you're new to painting our wood pieces, that the wood really soaks that paint up and it's going to dry very, very quickly. So you're going to easily be able to come back with a second coat to put that second coat on there. And we'll do our little hat here. I think that is good. Okay, so let's see. Let's move into our black because I won't have to change out the sponge. So I'm just going to dip straight into the black, and we're going to come in. We're going to paint what's going to be the cauldron here, the little pot of gold, which is down here at the bottom of the rainbow. And I'm just going to paint all of this space with the black because I know I've got my 3D coins and stuff to put on here to make that pop. So we're just going to paint all of that black, and then this little lip that's the top of that pot of gold, we'll paint that black as well. And the band of our hat is going to be black. I'm going to have to grab a paintbrush to paint inside there. And I want to paint this. This is the piece of the hat that holds into the goose's head. This bottom part, I want to paint this black because a little bit of that is going to show. And so I just want to be sure it's covered. And we're just going to paint this whole section. Most of that's going to be covered, but just in case any of it shows, it's better to just have it painted. Let's grab our brush. We're going to grab a small brush, and we need to paint right in here where the buckle isn't. This little square piece needs to be black. So we'll just paint that up with our black. You could also use like a paint marker if your hands are not very steady. But I will say, I think the great thing about the etched lines is they almost give you a little stopping point for the paint. And so it keeps the paint from pulling into the rest of the piece too much. If you're careful as you get close to it, it kind of just, it's like a little bumper, and it just keeps the paint from going too far. Okay, there is that. I want to clip my sponge, and we're going to grab some of the golden color. Okay, I've been painting St. Patty's Day all morning, and I cannot believe that some of this paint is already starting to dry. We're going to paint this word goose, that gold color. And we're going to do the little horseshoe. Now these shamrocks here are 3D, so I don't worry if I get the gold up there onto the shamrocks. That's no big deal. Okay, and we're going to do our coins in this golden color. And these coins as well. And then we'll go back to our brush. Where did that brush go? There she is. And we're going to do the buckle on the hat piece here. Just like this. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. I am going to see if I have any glittery gold over here. I think I do. We're going to throw a little glitter on there because I think glitter makes everything better, and I just want it to be a little sparkle. So we're just going to, with that brush that we used, we're going to brush a little bit of glitter on here. Actually, we're going to use that sponge. I want to be careful. These little coins have lots of little etched shamrocks and things on them. So I don't want to push too much of that glitter into those spaces, which is why I switched to the sponge, because if I use that paintbrush, I am going to push a lot down into those little etched lines, and I don't want to completely lose all the fun details that are on there. If you want your glittery gold to really pop, you want to make sure that bottom layer is dry. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you're just going to mix your colored paint with your glitter. So you really want your glitter to sparkle. Make sure you let that first layer dry. Let's just throw a little glitter here on this goose word. Fun. And we're going to put a little bit on this hat band. I'm just going to do the whole band. That'll be fun. Okay. Let's see. What now? We need to do the rainbow. So there are a couple different ways you could do this. There's a lot of colors in this rainbow. So we're going to go with the traditional Roy G. Biv. So we're going to grab just a little bit of red, and I'm just going to grab a brush. We're just going to do our best here. Okay, so we're going to start with our red on the outside edge. And there are some lines here for you to follow. But just know it doesn't have to be perfect. That's the beauty of having hand-painted things, is they do not have to be perfect. And my favorite part of the rainbow order is the colors that are next to each other really play into one another. So, you know, when you look at a real rainbow, we don't see just the red and then just the orange. We see the red and then it fades into the orange. And so if that happens on your piece, it just makes it more realistic. And I'm just going to bring this all the way to the bottom, even though I know that this bottom lip is probably going to be covered up just a little bit. All right, so there's my red. We're going to grab a teensy bit of orange. We don't need much of any of these colors. Orange. And then we're going to go into yellow. And there are those lines here, so I'm just doing my best to stay within the lines. I am also keeping a decent amount of paint on my brush, because what I don't want to have to do is come back and do a second coat on this. I want this first coat to really just be it, because it's a little fussy. I don't want to have to keep going back and forth. All right, a little bit of yellow. Maybe. Come on, yellow. There we go. If you had like all the different rainbow colors of paint pens, you could even use a paint pen to do this, and that would work just fine too. All right, then we've got green. And then we need some blue. What blue do I want to use? Use this blue. And then we're going to do a little bit of purple. Maybe. Do I have purple in here somewhere? Surely I do. Metallic purple. I'm going to grab this. It's more of a lavendery color, but it'll be fine. Oh, wrong end of the brush there. Okay, a little bit of purple. Fairly close to the same shade as my blue that I put on there, but that is fine. There we go. Cute little rainbow colors. All right, let's give that a dry, because I did put that on pretty thick. So we're just going to give that just a quick dry. And then we're going to glue everything together, and we'll do our little highlights and shadows, and I'll show you how all of these pieces go on the goose to make him interchangeable. Let's see. A little bit that I missed here with the yellow. There we go. Didn't bring it quite down far enough. I'm just a little worried that's going to show. So, all right. Nice and dry. Inside all of your kits, you're going to get a little tube of craft glue. It's going to be E6000, B7000, something to that nature. It's a craft glue. You're going to use that glue to glue all your pieces down. All of our craft glues are pretty much the same, depending upon which one we send you. Usually just depends upon what's in stock. So I have my little refillable bottle here. Anytime you're putting these glues on, you want to do just a dot, not a lot. And we're just doing a nice thin coat of glue and then putting down our pieces. These glues do dry clear, so if it kind of seeps out from underneath there, it's going to be okay. It's not the end of the world. I do try to avoid that, but sometimes it just happens. All right, we've got our little gold coins that sit inside of our little pot of gold, and then these are kind of spilling out over onto the side. Let's see why I said it didn't matter down there at the bottom of the rainbow, because these are going to go right there, just kind of lining them up on the edges. That's our little rainbow piece. Then we have our hat. Boop, boop, boop. So here's his little hat. If you're just buying this kit and you have to paint the goose as well, there is a video on our YouTube channel that goes with the 4th of July insert that shows you how to assemble the goose. So you'll want to watch that one to know how to assemble the goose, because it is a little tricky. It's a little different on some of those pieces to be able to make it to where you can switch the hat in and out. So make sure you watch that video as well if you need to paint and assemble the whole thing. All right, there's our word. It says Lucky Goose, and then it's going to get glued onto this board here. This glue does take some time to dry. You're going to want to let everything lay flat for a full 24 hours so that all your pieces are set. In about 30-ish minutes, it's going to seem like they're set, but I promise you they're not. And if you set them up and you walk away, you're probably going to come back and be sad because everything's going to have moved. So just let it lay down until you're 100% sure that everything is glued. 24 hours is really a good amount of time. All right, and then our little shamrocks here for our horseshoe. Okay, I'm going to grab my bowl dryer here. We're just going to give everything a quick dry. Try to set this glue just a little bit faster because I need to flip these over and be able to show you how they go. 100% do not recommend this. Let them dry the way they're supposed to naturally, but in the interest of being able to show you exactly how to assemble everything, I want to have these pieces pretty set so I can move them around just a little bit. All right, so we have those two rectangle pieces. A lot of times people will be like, I don't know what to do with these. So I'm going to show you how you're going to use those. They actually go on the back of the sign. So this is my sign from the 4th of July. They're going to go on the back of this sign so that this will set on the signpost and make this interchangeable. So let's bring our little goose back over here. So you have his basket and our firecrackers. I haven't taken this up yet. There we go. I was like, I haven't taken this out. Okay. He's a little dusty too. Ignore the dust. All right. There's this little hat. Just pops out. And then these just set inside his arms there. So now he's all naked. So what I need to do is figure out where to put, I can take this piece out. I need to figure out where to put my rectangles on the back of my sign so that this sits nicely on the post. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this flat on my desk and I'm going to put this piece, maybe. I'm going to put this piece down here and I'm going to put this piece up here. Is that what I'm going to do? Yes. Just like that, just so I know how far apart these need to be spaced on the back of my sign. And I'm just going to set that on there. I'm going to hopefully, yeah, I knew that wasn't going to work. Okay, we're just going to boop, just like that. As long as they're spaced apart so that you can get this in here like so, you're going to be just fine. Just don't glue this piece to this piece, okay? Because this is always there and you don't get a new one of these each time you order. It stays with the goose. We're going to give that a quick dry so I can show you what it looks like when it's all put together. And you want this to be fairly centered in the back here, although you'll be able to move it along that rail if it's not 100% centered, so it'll be okay. And if you have trouble getting it to stay when you're standing it up, you could always take a piece of painter's tape and put it on the back as well so that you don't lose that interchangeable feel. But I will say I've never had any issues with my pieces falling off once this is setting up. It's a little crazy when you're moving it around the air like I am, but once it's standing, it's fine. So I'm going to move you up just a bit here. There we go. So you can see better. So here's our little goose. And the hat, there's just a little hole in the top of the head here that we created. And so that piece is just going to go just like that. This is our little piece that goes in the basket. It's a little rainbow. And it just sets, there's a little notch there. This just goes right inside of that little pocket for the wings. And then we have our little Lucky Goose sign, which just sets on that rail like so. And how cute is our little goose for St. Patty's Day? So I'm so glad I finally got this done. And now I can set this out for St. Patty's Day. And I already have my 4th of July one done. So I like to just store these in a little plastic Ziploc bag. So I'll just get a little Ziploc bag and put those in a little baggie. And then that way I don't have as much to store each time, which is the great thing about the interchangeable pieces is you can switch this in and out pretty easily for the seasons. And you don't have to store this whole thing. You can just store these few little pieces. And this is going to look so cute sitting on a desk or a mantle or wherever. So I hope that you enjoyed creating this kit. I would love to see your finished kit. Be sure to drop a picture of your goose in our craft kit group on Facebook because we would love to see it. Have a great time crafting and I will talk to you all soon. Bye y'all.